the fall equinox, autumn equinox. While I was doing this, wasn't planning on doing this right off the bat, right again. I was like, oh, the fall equinox is coming up, so I'll do like more of my research about everything and stuff for the fall equinox. And then I was talking to my little brother about it, and he's like, you know, that's tomorrow, right? Meaning today. So here I am, have some information about the fall equinox and like the origins of this holiday and what all that actually means, where it came from. So I wanted to share it with you guys and do a little bit of cards for the fall equinox, because it's all about the balance of the dark and the light, because today is the day that the the day and night are of equal length. Hey Paxton, what's up, girl? Thanks for checking in. I love seeing when you guys are like here and watching, so it's super cool. And I'm trying to like be able to see it again. So bear with me. If you guys have any questions, please type them in, because that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help share some of this stuff that I've been learning. And also let me know if the audio goes in and out. We have issues with my speakerphone thing, so definitely let me know if that's an issue. I'm trying to use like my headphones, but I'm hiding them. So talking about the fall equinox. So in the Celtic tradition, and where it kind of get its basis as a holiday is Mabon. Lots of cool stuff. I'm a super nerd, so I have notes. So it's not really truly acknowledged as a holiday until the Norse invaders came in and actually made it the celebration and stuff that most pagan traditions and stuff even today still celebrate. And it's associated with the harvest god of Mabon. Now there's a lot of history about Mabon as a person. Actually possibly could have been a ruler of Wales at one time and then was just embodied in myth as a god. But whenever it comes to like Celtic mythology and tradition, especially when it's related to that Arthurian world like of Avalon and Lady Guinevere and King Arthur and the Sword in the Stone, Merlin, and all that crazy cool stuff that I love super very much, it gets a little, the lines between myth and fact are really blurred, and that's like one of my favorite types of stuff to learn about. So I find that really super intriguing. But Mabon, fall equinox, it's celebrating the second harvest. So in Norse mythology and Celtic mythology, there are 3 harvests. We've got the beginning of it, the middle of it, and the end of it, because like different fruits, different vegetables, different things come into harvest at different times. So this is the wine and apples and not necessarily like pumpkins and everything yet, but kind of finishing up the beginning of that harvest, moving into the end of the harvest, and those things that are just now coming right now. So actually, so whenever you talk about Arthurian legend, that is King Arthur and Merlin and Mabon, all of that kind of stuff, that's all in the land of Avalon. The land of Avalon is literally the land of the apples. So this is a huge celebration for the Avalon culture and tradition, mythology, I don't know, lots of words, and there's people watching, and it's a little intimidating, I'm not gonna lie. So I'm trying to just ignore that. But it's the land of the apples, but it's also, so the mythological land of Avalon is also like the Celtic land of the dead, but it's kind of the world in between, where the land of the living meets the land of the dead. It's that middle world, that land that a lot of times you kind of think of as this world, that middle world, because you've got, in lots of cultures, you've got the tree. So you've got the underworld, which is the roots, you've got the middle world, which is the trunk, and you've got the upper world, which is the branches and the leaves, which is heaven. So a lot of cultures, a lot of different religions even allude to that tree of life and that 3 layers, that trinity of layers. There's so many different things that are really intriguing about it, but this is just the celebration of that. And since it's the land of, or the celebration of wine, I did pour a glass, so I'm able to help with my nerves, and I haven't had a sip yet, so cheers to y'all. Celebration of wine and apples, and then we'll get into this a little bit more. We're talking about these different levels of the light and the dark. It's the yin and the yang. Everything's even on this day, moving forward. I see like angry signs. Who are you? Jay? Oh, come on now. You gotta pay attention. You gotta listen. Trust me on this. I know there's a method to my madness. Oh, we got loves. We got loves. Alrighty. So, the Celtic people, this is where it gets a little crazy. Because I love the idea of time travel. So the Celtic people, many ancient cultures actually saw time as non-linear. So it's rather just one great omnipresent now in which we all live many concurrent lives. So at the same time in this non-linear progression, all existing in this now. And all of them are all connected to other life forms. So it kind of has that allusion to reincarnation like a lot of cultures do, but it's not actually reincarnation. It's just living everything concurrently at this now moment. Pretty fascinating. So Mabon, the word, means the great sun. He was the child of Madrid, I don't know pronunciation on it, so please correct me if anybody knows. But that means the great mother. So Mabon was actually stolen at the age of 3, and King Arthur actually rescued him. And that's where it becomes, he might have actually been a ruler of Wales at one time, and then later came into myth, but then again, maybe not. Don't really know. So that's something I'm going to dig a little deeper on. So at a time of balance, so this is just like the spring equinox, but the spring equinox is all about looking forward to the coming year, to the summer, to the lengthening of the days, to the harvest that you're going to, prepare for, to plant and create. But here at the fall equinox, we're swapping it. So instead of looking outward to that growth, to things that are coming, you're actually beginning to reflect inward, to kind of acknowledge the work that you've done, begin to reap the harvest of the things that you've done throughout the year, enjoying the fruits of your labor, but then also preparing for the coming winter. Putting things back in the storage, kind of reflecting, getting prepared for the, going inside the houses, staying in, not really go, but kind of bringing those energies back in. So with this being said, in the spring equinox, it's looking forward to the coming light. And the fall equinox, it's the darkness overtaking the light. You're looking forward to that. Now, this is where it gets a little hard for people to understand, so bear with me. Not hard to understand, but this is like one of those things I want to break the stipulations on. Because darkness often inspires that idea of fear, of evil, of all the bad things as the darkness. But in ancient cultures, the darkness was just the opposite of light. It was the same thing. A duality. That's the word I'm looking for. So that whole yin and yang. It's like, I'm going to look at my notes on this one because it's hard to explain. But it's not really considered either good or bad. It's just two parts of the same thing, two parts of the same whole, the same concept. Because without darkness, you can't have light. So it's just two things, the same thing. So it's looking forward to that darkness in the fall equinox. So that being said, I've got my computer pulled up to pull up the notes for this spread that I'm going to do. And the deck that I used last time is the Wildwood Tarot cards. They're actually by Mark Ryan and John Matthews, if anybody wants to look it up. But they are from Celtic mythology, ancient tradition. When it comes to that, you can see the symbology here, the tree of life, but then how it's intertwined. You've got the duality. So it kind of alludes to all of that. Lots of things with that. So I'm just going to shuffle them. We're going to do this live. I'm going to read the descriptions out of the book. I'm not going to just like completely wing it. Now I'm probably going to summarize because there's a lot of words in there. I'm not going to waste your time. I'm not going to waste my time. But I'm kind of wanting to this is all a science experiment, honestly. It was when I started. I started doing the full moon and the new moon cards just to kind of, oh, I see you, Paxton. So I do have information about that. I'm actually going to start offering that, which is really interesting. So I'll either comment it on this thread here or send me a message and stuff, but I have a couple of ideas. So I kind of made this like cool little picture with information on how to do your own reading with me, and let me help you out with this and kind of break those stereotypes. So, shuffling these, and I'm going to lay them out. There's 6 cards. It's all about the balance of light and dark. So, yeah. And since I'm shuffling in front of you guys, I'm not faking it. It's just cards. And again, how it's said in the book, there's no magic power behind the cards. It's just a way for your inner subconscious to have it say. So, put those back in there. There's like a stack of them. If it was one card that flew out, that's like a different thing. And I think I'm just going to stop right there. Okay, so 1 is for the area of your greatest balance in life. And it's the journey. I'm going to go into depth after I deal them out, but it's the journey. This is basically, in traditional tarot decks, it's the death card. So, but it's not the death to be feared. It's the death of the new thing and way for the rebirth of the new. So you'll see that, and that kind of is perfect for this whole, thanks Nick, appreciate it. I'm not the greatest on that. Okay, look, I could do it all nice, but I'm not. Anywho, the death card, the journey. This is the journey of life. You'll see. It's not scary, I promise. So this is the area of least imbalance in life. And it's the Ace of Vessels, the waters of life. It's not really focusing on it. That, again, the vessels we talked about last time are about emotions. So maybe we have our emotions a little out of balance. I'm not going to lie, I'm a normal person. So, well, slightly normal. My emotions are super out of whack. Balancing energies is the card of exploitation. This is another one of those ones that doesn't really have a good definition in the booklet, but I'll explain it a little bit later. It's actually really good. So this is where and how I spend my energies on others. Interesting. This is the hawk. It came up in the last video that I did as our secret special skill. So it's how you spend, where and how you spend the energies on others. And that was the special skill, so that's kind of cool. And then you spend energies on yourself. Instruction, that also come up last time. You guys saw me shuffling these cards, I promise. Between those is the card of ecstasy. That's super cool. So in order to balance the Knight of Arrows and Hawk and the also instruction on yourself, it's by being happy in the moment, in that now moment. Interesting. And then the sense of equilibrium to connect to the energy's outflow and focus. So kind of pulling it all in, that major equilibrium thing. Responsibility. Taking responsibility for your actions, everything like that. Kind of perfect. So, let's pull out the book and be legit and unbiased. So number 13, the journey as our greatest balance in life. It says, I'm going to hold the card up so you guys can see it. It looks all super creepy, but it's pretty. That is the death of old ideas or concepts that have outlived their usefulness. It's time to strip to the bare bone the essentials of your nature so that fears and neuroses can be faced and cleansed. The journey's not to be feared. It's an inevitable and natural part of life to be celebrated and accepted. It says it's time to face the inevitable, to let the bones be laid bare and acknowledge the deepest aspects of your fears and desires. Do not fear change, because it's also a time of purification and realignment. This change may seem extreme and destructive, but old crops have to be cleared for new growth to thrive, and static or sterile modes and concepts must perish. A celebration of the past or an acknowledgement of the passing of one part of life might be required. That's the death part. So let the threads of the old slip from your fingers with joyful remembrance, and enter this time of withdrawal with renewal, withdrawal and renewal. Enter this time of withdrawal and renewal with patience and calm. So, I told you guys I wasn't that crazy bad. The second card, the area of least balance, so the area of most imbalance in life, is the Ace of Vessels, the waters of life. Let me flip to that. I'm going to set this down a little quick. Make this a little easier. So again, vessels represents emotions. That's how I'm going to summarize. Our powers of reason, intellect, and science have given us a mastery of the oceans and the skies, but what propels the drive to explore, invent, and build is still human desire and curiosity. Biologists would argue that our emotions are simply a manifestation of the ancient evolutionary process and are governed by the limbic system, or the mammalian brain. What influenced the ancient reptilian brain, on which our brain sits, like that human aspects of it are like bare bone and nature type stuff, our emotional reactions is still a mystery. Our emotions have to be harnessed for positive ends. Suppressing our basic emotional needs lead us to rebel and become detached. So gather your emotional energies and keep them in balance for healthy, creative, and loving interaction with all of nature, and including the sometimes irrational and destructive energies of humankind. So, emotions super out of whack. It says that that's our area of most imbalance in our life. I feel like with what's going on in the world, that kind of makes a whole lot of sense. The irrational and destructive energies of humankind. I mean, kinda, yeah. So, the thing to bring that into balance is the Six of Stones. I'm going to go ahead and flip to that real quick. And that is exploitation. And it's kind of talking about, this is one of those, again, that doesn't really have a meaning in the, I mean, it has a meaning in here, but it kind of goes into really big detail. I'm just going to read through it. It's actually really interesting. So it's talking about the selfish or foolish overuse of non-sustainable resources. It implies imbalance in the work or business that's damaging to yourself or the environment. The human race's capacity to exploit planetary resources to our own detriment is motivated by a flawed belief that we have the right to do so. As we begin to come to terms with the profound effects of global climate change and the irreversible effects that this has on our children's lives, the human race still struggles to deal with the unresolved issues of how to feed the billions of new human beings born every year. How we will resource the education, health, and social service requirements of entire generations to come seems like a question too painful to even think about. With world financial systems and safeguards breaking down, and faith in government's ability to tell the truth and act with integrity that's severely damaged, our social moral codes and once familiar cultural norms appear under enormous strain. We all need to be aware of the price our children will pay for our exploitation of the planet's resources. So that says the balancing energies of this. So with that, I guess that kind of makes sense because it's the journey card in between the journey card and the waters of life. So the death of these concepts that have worn out, and then balancing these emotional energies based upon all these things and noticing the effect that humans have had on that kind of all plays together really interestingly. So also I have a number for you guys too about tarot spreads and why this is scientific for me. I'm talking about like the odds of the pattern showing up in this order in this way. There's like a gajillion ways. Like there's not even a word for the amount of numbers behind the 1 and zeros that the odds of this would happen. So pretty cool. Number 4, where and how I spend my energies on others. This is the one we got for our secret special skill at the new moon, the Hawk Knight of Arrows. Quicksilver, messenger of fate. Also, hawk, one of my favorite things. So, it says the hawk helps and supports you to see through layers of doubt and uncertainty to the problem at the heart of the matter. Be swift and subtle and use your common sense to progress. So this is our secret special skill, and this is how we spend our energy on others based on the previous 3 I just read. Kind of on point. So it says so this is the Knight of Arrows, this hawk here, is a champion who rides to defend and uphold beliefs for himself and on behalf of others. They have clear views and opinions and makes a good advocate for those who have no voice. A friend who's never downhearted but always energetic and spontaneous. Having vigilance as you go through this process, struggling with ideological compliance or revolt, using subtlety as a way through, and then it's like a cause that you espouse. It says like, what do you hold on to strongly in the depths of doubt? What do you need to stand up for? Where might you be wrongly informed? So those are all the things, and it's like words like heroism, subtlety, valor, all those types of things is what this hawk represents. That's how you spend your energy on others. So we're doing good, right? So where and how we spend energy on ourselves. We got this on the new moon thing, the instruction, and that's just the passing of information to the younger generations or just to others. 10 of arrows. Why did these have to be in backwards order? Thought it was just going to be a one-page flip, but it's not. So it says, a parent passes on skills, wisdom, and ancestral ways with love and tolerance. Instruction and communication are required between the generations to help use old skills in new ways. So it says, our young people absorb and apply ever more complex technologies with bewildering speed and uncanny ease. The gap between the generations appears to just get wider every year. But when we interact with the young today, we have to make a conscious effort to pass on the traditional wisdom and skills and make the relationship with those disciplines as vital as ever. With the coming of the Industrial Revolution, the traditional relationship between father and son just broke down. Sharing bonding experiences like hunting, fishing, the tending of herds and fields, that's all kind of slowly passed away. And also for girls, the women's mysteries, it says in quotes, have faded as traditional societal roles have evolved and changed, and personal instructional relationships, even among women across the age gap grow rarer. All generations lose out if the divide becomes too wide, and skills, wisdom, and arts are lost. Just as no child will ever forget the first fish he catches or the first touchdown they score, coached and encouraged by Grandpa, the pride and achievement and responsibility present in good parenting is anchored in the gift of instruction. We lose these gifts of shared experience and patience. It's taught through the interaction of instruction. So if we don't do that, it says it's at society's peril. So pass on the things that you learned from your generations as well. And it's about how you spend energy on yourself. So maybe spending time with family, especially with the holidays and stuff coming up, kind of spending time to get that ancestral ways, that instruction from parents, grandparents, even people that aren't related, and then so you have it to pass on to the generations after us. And then the balancing energy between those is the card of ecstasy, enjoying that process, enjoying spending time with all of those things. The five of vessels, so emotions and having happiness through that, that's not easy. Not all the time. Emotions kind of suck. If we're honest with ourselves, sometimes they're great, but not always. So it says that the beat of the universal drum is heard in the soul, and it is healthy to surrender for a time and join the dance. Energy is renewed by bathing in the cosmic life force of exultant and sincere ecstasy. Many avenues are open to commune intimately and ecstatically with great beauty, or to be intoxicated by an intensely personal connection with the divine. We talked about that the last time. Music, meditation, art, love, dancing, or anything else like that can inspire and induce the sacred trance of enlightening ecstasy. The powerful and euphoric awareness is utterly natural and well-established part of shamanic traditions. States of trance can be triggered by exertion. I mean, that's a thing in like Kundalini yoga, or even hardcore exercise and stuff. You can like actually leave the gym like feeling high because you've worked it and you're in that good headspace. A lot of different research on that kind of stuff too. So the ecstatic trance has been described as a delightful possession or mysterious union with a timeless exuberance. The fusing of the spiritual being with a profound and loving universal mind elevates the soul to the space between spaces, where poetry breathes through you and exaltation and stillness effortlessly coexist. Damn, that's really beautiful. I'm glad I'm reading these out of the book. That's why I don't want to just like tell you what the meaning is, because Mark Ryan and John Matthews, the guys that wrote this, I don't know if it was Mark Ryan or John Matthews, but one of them designed the Bumblebee Transformer. Super scientific, especially in the introduction of this book. I highly recommend these guys because they kind of just break it down real normal. And I got this one to start doing research on tarot and all that kind of stuff. I talked about that in my last video. So the very last one is how my sense of equilibrium connects to my energy's outflow and focus. Whatever that means, but just that equilibrium between it all. That yin-yang balance point, kind of. And it's the 10 of bows, which is responsibility. So you see this dude like carrying all these 10 things all the way up this hill to like burn them. I love it. Okay, so responsibility. The challenge of dealing with responsibility. Come on now. We all have the challenge of dealing with responsibility, the whole like adulting thing, right? Challenge of dealing with responsibility brings a need for inner fortitude, stamina, and determination. The weight of the burden may be heavy and cumbersome, but the task that is handed to you might be vital for the greater good, not just for yourself, but for your family or your chosen tribe. So whether you volunteered for the task or it's thrust upon you by unforeseen circumstances, come on now, this right here, not like doing this type of information. I didn't really ask for it. I just know that I feel like I should share this stuff. So it's time to accept responsibility. Do so with good humor and a stoical resolve, and welcome any daunting challenge with humility and enthusiasm. Although the timing might be unfortunate or inconvenient, the issues of dealing with responsibility are often a matter of simple self-confidence. The learning curve may be steep and appear insurmountable, but once the task is fully understood and effort is expended, many valuable life lessons can be learned. The effect of taking responsibility in your family or close tribal group can have far-reaching effects beyond your personal sphere. By leading from the front and taking responsibility for any past failures or inappropriate actions, you disarm and neutralize self-doubt or feelings of inadequacy. It's an honor and a sign of respect that your peers trust you to complete this task and handle the responsibility, knowing that you'll fully commit to this quest until completion. This understanding should support and enhance both your sense of self-worth and self-respect. Yes, girl, I love it too. That's why I'm reading it from the book, because, like, I'm telling you, they just wrote it down very simply, but not simply at the same time. Yes, humility and enthusiasm, like that duality. Isn't that the duality of this whole fall equinox season? So let me see. I might have missed some comments. I'm going to scroll through these really quick. Does anybody have any questions? And I've got a few other decks here and stuff I thought about maybe pulling somebody random, a specific card. And I've got Miss Paxton here. So I think I'm going to pull a Kuan Yin card for you. And I don't know if you saw that last video, but it's the ones that it kind of speaks directly to you. And I'm going to pull it for you, but I'm going to say that it's kind of for the whole like collective energies thing, because I feel like it'll probably just go along with it, right? Like that's kind of the way it's supposed to go. But this one, we're going to be gearing it for Paxton. That one tried to jump out, so we're going to go with that one. That one fell out. That was my fault. Well, I'm going to let you see with this one anyway. So the one that fell out is fearless. So, fearless, humility, enthusiasm, all those types of things. Be fearless, girlfriend. And the card that was trying to jump out for you is 27, and it's Sisters of the Sacral Spiral. So that sacral chakra thing, that's the area of creativity, of self-worth, self-confidence, all of those things. Sisters of the Sacral Spiral. So, let me look that one up real quick. 27. Sorry. It's probably really loud with the headphones. Okay. You ready for this? It's really good. So it says, I create by weaving a web of love, drawing threads from the past and looping those with the threads of the future, drawing them together back and forth over time until the beautiful present moment is rich, full, and abundant with love interwoven. When that happens, the plan that I've been lovingly preparing for you suddenly appears to come together, all the preparation finally showing itself in effect. This time, for acknowledgement and celebration shall soon come for you. My weaving hand is steady, sure and swift, and the threads of your life are rapidly taking shape to reveal my most beautiful divine plans for you. That's beautiful. And in the midst of all of that, stay fearless, right? Okay. So I know it's late. I'm sleepy, and but I know there's only a couple of people watching this right now, but seriously, if anybody has any questions about this, oh, you're very welcome. Though I love the way those are written. That was actually the second deck that I got for myself. People say, like, in the whole, like, tradition stuff, don't buy a deck, you, like, your first one is, like, given to you, all that. I was doing research on disproving this type of stuff, so I bought a deck so I could start tracking correlations. And then this one, it just randomly showed up. I have no reason to pick a Kuan Yin one, and then I found out later that she's, like, the motherly, loving aspect of Buddha. So I get it now, but I don't even... But they're good. I know why I got them now. They mean a lot. They speak deeply. But yeah, so that's a little bit of Mabon, the wine and apples festival in the land of Avalon, with all my super cool magical Merlin and King Arthur Sword in the Stone type of phenomenal fandom type things. Any guys questions? And then also, I probably will go ahead and comment that picture thing I made today. I'm going to start doing readings because I need more data for research purposes. So be my research subjects. And also it's support for me in doing this type of stuff, because I'm going to need, especially with doing the podcasting and the people, like I've got different interviews and stuff set up already with different pastors even, authors, other researchers, scientists when it comes to a lot of stuff, especially related to yoga, health and wellness, healthy eating, even like macros and micros and ketones and all that kind of stuff. Super intriguing things, so many different levels. But I'm going to start putting that together for like the podcast type thing, selling my rocks and stones and crystals, because geology, I have a lot of rocks and I just moved them and I don't want to do that again, so I need to start selling them like I've been saying I'm going to for like way too long. So yeah, I'm going to share all of that type of stuff, so definitely check in the comments for the information regarding like getting your own reading, message, whatever label you want to put on it, because the word reading and stuff, it just seems super, it doesn't work in my world. I like messages because it's just messages from your own inner subconscious. So I'm just kind of the conduit, right? And then also research. So I hope you guys had a good night, a good day, a good fall equinox, even though it was hot as balls here. I'm not even gonna lie, it was ridiculous. I'm sure Memphis is even worse. So yeah, look forward to seeing you guys again. I guess if not sooner, I'll be doing this again on the full moon. I think I'm gonna start doing Facebook Live spreads for the ones that I've been tracking for like 4 or 5 years now, which is the full moon and the new moon, because this kind of just takes a whole new element to the fact that I'm not like planning it. It's just cards and I shuffle it, people are watching and see that I'm not making it up, and then tracking the correlations. So, and yes, I definitely will. I like, because the book actually goes in even more in depth. It has like 3 pages or so. I'll just like take pictures of those and send them to you. How's that? Alright, well, y'all have a good night. Thanks for watching. See you again soon.